Good evening and welcome to Scrapbooking with a Twist. We are going to do my first layout for the new hop over on Ginger's Corner, and it is called, what is it called? I need to, oh, it's on here. It is called, it's Around the World with Children's Books or something like that. Anyway, we do this Around the World series hop. This will be about the third or fourth one that we've done. So much fun, so much fun. It's educational and it's fun and it's challenging and it's a really popular one. So in the description below, there will be a link to the hop that everybody's playing along. There are some really good creative people playing along in this hop. You'll really enjoy it. So I'm going to do this time. Captain Mallory has chosen children's books and that take place around the world. And so tonight I'm going to do the one that is called Kiwi's Big Adventure in Amsterdam. It's a perfect launch for young children to develop an interest in foreign culture and language. Explorers climb aboard and join Kiki, the globe-trotting kitty, on her latest adventure, a delightful journey through the land of tulips, windmills, and waterways. To earn our bookmark for this book, we have to create a travel layout, must use map paper, and have a minimum of 5 tulips on the page. Well, I had already started to do this layout, and I really wanted to go ahead and finish it. I'm trying to finish up my Turkey trip, and so using map paper wasn't a problem. Getting tulips on a turkey layout was a little bit of a problem, but I'm going to do it anyway. So I'm going to have 3 flip-flaps on this page because I only want one page for this particular place that we went, and it's called the Hierapolis of Phrygia. And so tonight, instead of doing an actual twist, I'm going to give you some history and background on this area that we visited. So I'm going to start. I wanted to go ahead and do the base page. I used this as a frame, and I don't know if I have it. Let me pull this. We went to, this is Pergamum. And if you Bible, this is one of the 7 churches of Revelation, Pergamum. And it was a really neat place. This is where my journaling's going to go. And so I did this one, and then this one is going to be kind of a companion page for that. So I'm going to start gluing this down, and just throughout the layout, I'll give you some history and some information, and then also tell you what I'm doing. I have done these flip-flaps numerous times. Like every one of my turkey layouts has at least one flip-flap on it. And they're just the handmade flip-flaps. They're not the plastic ones. But I really kind of like these better most of the time, just simply because the plastic ones sometimes leave a little to be desired. And your pictures want to fly out of them, and some of them are pretty good. Some of them are definitely better than others. But I really like these, just where you make them by hand, and of course then they don't really cost like those others do, and I think they look like more like part of your layout. So this first one is just going to go right up here at the very top. And I could have glued this down, but I really wanted these coming out from under this part of the layout and not from the frame. So just going to go ahead and get them down. I matted these in just this dark green and made the flip-flap, which works as a matting, out of just a dark green cardstock that matches pretty well with this paper. This is, what was this? Was it a P13? I don't remember what this is. It's a little shiny, and I'm not a shiny paper person, but I liked it, and it reminded me, you know, Turkey, especially this western part of Turkey along the Aegean Sea, was under the Greek, excuse me, the Greek Empire for, well, while the Greek Empire was the Greek Empire. And this kind of reminded me of that Greek look. Turkey has been under several empires. This part of Turkey, like that I'm going to be talking about today, this is the area of Phrygia. And see, I had a little map. Here's a little map of Turkey. And this is just showing the area that we traveled. And basically, we traveled that area of Phrygia. It's just this kind of central, kind of western central part of Turkey. And that's where this city of Hierapolis was. See, I need to get this one more flip-flap on here, and then I'll have that part done. Hierapolis, however you want to say it, means holy city. And it wasn't a holy city in the way we would think of a holy city. It actually housed like cult, kind of underworld. It was kind of dedicated at one point in its early history to like underworld gods, like the god of the underworld and things like that. If I haven't gotten them mixed up, I actually think like King Midas might have ruled in Hierapolis. You know, everybody's kind of heard of Midas, you know, the golden touch, you know, kind of thing. But this area, I can't glue and talk at the same time. This area is a really neat part of Turkey. We visited, like I said, Pergamum, but then we went over to this area. And Pergamum is probably a couple of 100 miles, maybe, from this area of Hierapolis. But 3 cities that are well known were in this area: Hierapolis, and then, or the Hierapolis of Phrygia, Colossae, which was a city that we have the book of Colossians in the Bible, where Paul wrote to the Christians in Colossae, and it's called Colossians. And then Laodicea, which is another city that's very near this Hierapolis. And Laodicea is one of the 7 churches of Revelation. Laodicea is the church that in Revelation, when it talks to each of the 7 churches, it was Laodicea is the one that says, you're neither hot nor cold. And that's, I spew you out of my mouth because you're neither hot nor cold. And Laodicea was kind of, if you would, downstream from Hierapolis. Hierapolis had all of these hot springs, and by the time those springs would get to Laodicea, they were just kind of lukewarm. And so that the Laodiceans really understood that terminology of you're just lukewarm, because those streams, those hot springs that came from here, were just lukewarm by the time they got to them. So Colossae, the city that Paul wrote to the Colossians, and Hierapolis and Laodicea are all just about 5, 6, 7 miles from each other. They were important trade cities. They were in the Greek Empire, and then they were important. Their road system improved even more under the Roman Empire, but pretty important cities of that area. Okay, so there we've got, let's see, this picture is going to go under this one. So let me go ahead and get it down. Pretty monochromatic, just with the greens and the off-white, the cream color. there wasn't a whole lot I could put with this. I probably could have put maybe black, I guess, if I wanted to, but I just liked these two colors. Make sure I got that. Yep, okay. All right, so, and if you remember the layout I did of Pamukale, which had that white limestone and those hot springs, Hierapolis is literally on the edge of all of that. So those hot springs that were in all that beautiful, where it looked like snow, but it was hot springs, you can see in this picture, that's all of that Pamukale. And then here is Hierapolis right there on those hot springs. Okay, so I'm going to put my journaling under here, and I'm going to type it and put it on here, but I'm going to go ahead and mount this to put it on. And put it right up in under there. Now that has my pictures on there. And then I've just got a title and one big cluster that I'm going to do. One of, I think, the interesting things about this particular place, history kind of tells us that Laodicea, Colossae, and the Hierapolis were very similar. And one of the interesting things, because Paul went through this area on his missionary journeys, but to me, one of the interesting things is Paul actually mentions Hierapolis one time. It's the only time it's mentioned in the Bible, and it's in Colossians 4:13. And he is writing to the church at Colossae, and he tells them, he's talking about a man named Epaphras, and he says, I vouch for him. He's a good guy. I vouch for him. He's done a lot of good for you, talking about those in Colossae and in Laodicea and Hierapolis. So it's actually mentioned in the Bible. And the reason we didn't go to Laodicea, which is, definitely more renowned biblically than Hierapolis, was because Laodicea was kind of robbed. The ruins and everything of Laodicea were basically robbed by the Germans, so there's really not much left there. While here at Hierapolis, the ruins are amazing. To me, one of the most interesting things about, from the Christian perspective of Hierapolis is that, or this whole area, whether it be Colossae or Laodicea or Hierapolis, about this whole area was the mixture of the culture. The Phrygians, who this area just, like we might call an area the Great Plains or something, well, this area was called Phrygia because it had been settled like 700-800 centuries before Christ by the Phrygians, who were a group, they think, from the Balkans. And, see, that's the right side. And they were the ones who had built the temple to, I believe it was Sybil, was one of the goddesses, kind of maybe of the underworld or whatever, that they, Hierap, gotta make sure I spell this right, that they had built this temple and everything too. And then the Greeks, of course, have tremendous influence in when they have their empire, and then the Romans. And so the Greek gods, the gods of these more ancient people. And so it was a very culturally mixed area. There were Jews, there were Gentiles. Of course, anybody that wasn't a Jew was a Gentile. Then there was all of this influence of these foreign gods and that kind of stuff. So a lot of opportunity as far as like Paul and the missionaries were concerned. But also a lot of challenges because there was so much influence of these foreign gods. Almost got this part of the title done. I just cut these out of a alpha set that I have, a die cut alpha set. And this was just a strip. I have a, let's see, what is this? A Stamperia. It's Stamperia, isn't it? I think that's what it is. Anyway, this was the cover page for it. It has another side, but this was the cover page for it. It was similar to this one. So I just cut that strip out and cut it down to use kind of as my little base down here, because it's got the like broken bricks and that ancient look. I really liked it for that. Okay, that's this part of this title. So like I said, very challenging as far as keeping the Christians faithful just to one God. And of course that was Paul, and I think Stephen came through this area, and Timothy, Timothy was at Ephesus, but he may have come through this area because and the different ones that were with Paul, like Barnabas, and the different ones that were with Paul on his missionary journeys. Very challenging, but a lot of opportunities because they had been worshiping the foreign gods, so they had a lot of opportunity to witness. That's all I can think of right now on the history part of it, but if I think of anything else, I'll throw it in as we go. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and put this, the Hierapolis, and I'm going to put of Phrygia down here. When we went to the museum in Ankara, a lot of like Phrygian artifacts, which, I mean, that's really old to have Phrygian artifacts. Let's see, I don't know if I can, the Phrygians, and then probably maybe the Persians may have been, I don't know who overthrew them for sure. I should know that. And then the, like the Hittites and some of those that you know of from the Bible were that area also. And then the Persians, like the ones who overthrew Babylon. And then the Greeks, and then the Romans. And then it became, we know it in the Bible, this area of, it might be called Asia Minor. It's been called Anatolia. And then eventually it was taken over by the Byzantine Empire. And then the Muslims. And then eventually became what we know as Turkey. Almost finished with this. So it has a long, long, long history. Of course, Istanbul, Turkey, the capital, was at one time called Constantinople because of Constantine. And Constantine was the one that brought in Christianity to that area. Okay, 2 more letters, and then we have our title complete. then we're going to do just this one kind of, not too big, but, or not too complicated, I should say, cluster. And then that's going to be it. All right. Provided I spelled all that right. P-H-R-Y-G-I. I think I did. I think I did. Okay. Now, my cluster, I haven't really finalized it, but here's what I've got. This was from a swap, and I think Miss Josie did this. And it's a harp, and I thought that was pretty neat. You know, the ancient, that's an ancient musical instrument, so I thought that was kind of neat to go with this. So I've got that. These are a die cut, and I just rubbed ink on the little die cut so that it would stamp like that, because this is an emboss, but it embosses in and not out. I mean, I guess you could do it. It doesn't show. I mean, it just barely cuts in there. So anyway, I just inked it, and I really liked the way that looked. So that's that. And I'm going to just, and I went ahead and did two. It actually has a little book thing, and you can put these on, you know, like the 2 pages of the book. But I didn't really want the book for this. And then we have to use matte paper. So I have this little scroll die cut, and then I inked the edges, of course, of all of this, and inked across there to make it look like the scroll. And I'm going to stick that right on there. And then this, I think, was in, with this, it doesn't have her name on it, but I think I'm going to put that right down there. And then I've got, and I had this word faith that I thought I might put up on there, because this is an area of where our faith grew, the Christian faith grew with Paul's missionary journeys and everything. And then this quill pen was also a part of this die cut set, so I want to kind of put that on there. And then this, where's my little package of those? This is like from Dollar Tree, and when I got these, I thought, oh, my trip to Greece, these would be good for my trip to Greece. But then when I got to looking at this one, it really looks a lot like some of the pieces here in Hierapolis. And so I thought I might do that. And then, let's see, where did that get off to? Uh-oh. I've lost my... Uh-oh, we're in trouble. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? And of course, you know, if I ever drop anything, it's just forever gone on this floor. Well, I had this little thing of tulips. Oh, there they are. Cut out. So this is a little die cut that I have, and it's got 6 little tulips mixed in with that. And so I thought, in order to get the tulips on here, which in all honesty, I don't want tulips on this layout, but I want to meet the requirements of the hop. So I think I'm going to cut the tulips and stick them in there and put this little thing on here that looks like some of these ruins. So let's get this off of here. Let's get this off of here. And let's start gluing some of this down. All right, I am going to just put some glue in under these, and then I can go back and glue more if I want to. Thank you, Miss Josie, for this. I like it. We got this in a faith swap, or I got this in a faith swap a long time ago. over on Ginger's Corner. If you are not subscribed to Ginger's Corner, then you need to check that out. Like I said, the link will be below. You don't have to participate in any of these things. You can just go over there and watch the fun stuff, or get inspiration, or just whatever you want to do with it. But if you would like to swap with us, the directions are over there on just how you sign up to swap. And it's an amazing group with lots of fun things to do. And something that appeals to everyone. If you do card making, if you do journaling, if you scrapbook, just about anything that you do, you can find inspiration for it there. And lots of fun stuff. Some amazing creators over there. And literally from all over the world. Like girls from Australia and Europe and United States. It's an awesome group, Okay, let's get our map on there so we don't miss that requirement. Okay, and where's our little... And this says Imagine, which I thought was extremely appropriate for this layout. I don't want to cover up my words, so I think right there will work. Got this on wax paper because it is sticky. Okay, I may just cut these flowers, lay that up there, just cut these flowers and stick them on this. If I need the other flowers to fill in, I can do that. Like I said, if I were doing this layout, I would not be putting tulips on it, but I want to meet the requirements of the hop, so we are going to put tulips on it. And I think there's 6 or 7 of them in this. And then if I need to, I'll use some of those other little flowers too, but just to be sure and get our tulips. See, there's 6. Now I've got one more, and I'm going to stick it in there. There we go. Oops, where'd it go? Get that in there. Come on. Cooperate with me. I probably was off camera doing all that. Cooperate with me. Okay. Get the wax paper off of that. And I am going to go ahead and put some glue on that so that everything stays stuck. These are really sticky, but who knows whether they will be in 10 years or not. Okay. See if I can keep that tulip from falling off till I can get it stuck down. It is not wanting to stay there. Everything is covering the sticky stuff. I get it. Okay, there we go. All right, let's see where we can put this. There we go. And then I've still got my faith right here that I do think I want to put right across there. So let's get that on there, and then I think we may be finished. I appreciate you watching today and stopping by my channel You could be anywhere and you chose to be with me, and I appreciate that so, so much. If you're not a subscriber, I would love it if you would subscribe. And do not miss these other creators. This is a fun hop, and I mean, you just get to see everybody's take on it will be different, and it's so a lot of fun to watch these. So I hope you have a blessed day and be a blessing to someone else, and thanks again for stopping by.